Shut up and sit down.
Cyclists are incredible athletes as far as endurance goes, but a great deal of them fight like little.
Viva, viva le Tour de France. Y a le maillot jaune, le maillot vert.
Speedos. Not only do Speedos offer very little protection for your manly or womanly bits, but they also look wrong. Yes, it'll prevent you from getting farmers' tan lines, but no, that's not a valid excuse. If you want to do group rides without everybody trying to drop you, steer well clear of Speedos. You are far less likely to end up being arrested for indecency or severely reducing your ability to start a family.
You are listening to Le Podcast Day Dialed with Matt Legrand,
Sir Ian Gibson,
Lance Hepler, and Jake Von During. 5-time Tour de France champion, Bernard Hinault, once said something that you should really chew on. You can't win without suffering. Whether it's in the mountains or in a time trial, you have to spare no effort. You may feel drained at the finish, but the joy of winning helps you forget everything. Vive Le Tour.
It's Tour de France time, and whether you call it Tour de France or Tour de France, there is no escaping this iconic race and the magical pull it has for cycling fans and even, frankly, non-cycling fans.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dialed Podcast. I'm Jake Von During. I'm here with Lance friggin' Hepler.
Lance friggin' Hepler, welcome to the show.
He's here.
I am here.
He's in studio.
What's up, your happiness?
I don't know.
Yeah? You hepping it up?
I'm hepping it up. Rolling.
Life is good.
Life is good.
Rolling on two wheels.
Wait a second. Go Gibbo.
He's probably being knighted somewhere. He's probably being knighted somewhere right now.
He's not in the mother country. He is in Garmisch, Germany. He's
Okay.
gone to
Deutschland?
Deutschland.
Do they knight people in Germany?
No.
I didn't
they
think
just
so.
Execute people. They execute people. That was bad.
Okay.
Ian has rented a condo in Garmisch for 5 weeks.
Oh.
He is gone to Germany for the next 5 weeks.
I didn't know he was gone that long.
Yeah, he's just going, enjoying the Europe for a while.
Joining the Europe, huh?
Joining the Europe. What?
Took a bike with him and his
Presenting
wife.
your Royal Highness, Sir Ian Gibson.
Hey, Ian Gibson. Hey, bro. Hi.
All right, well, maybe we can get him to
Call in.
jump on the old interwebs and
He is
join us digitally.
He is willing to do that, but not today.
The whole
because
the
we're
whole
not
tour.
organized
He's
well
going to be gone
enough.
for the whole tour.
He's going to be gone for the whole tour. That's
He can't
correct.
join us for like a watch party kind of thing.
No, he can't.
Okay.
That sucks, but
Yeah.
oh well. Yeah, last but not least.
Oh yeah. Last and least. Remember.
Last and
not
least.
least and least, and all the least things. Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys look fan-freaking-tastic.
Sweet.
Moving right along.
Why don't you
I shaved
backpedal
my
for us,
legs
Matt?
for you.
Did you?
Yeah.
Looking good.
Silky.
I did not shave my legs for you. Sorry.
Matt, you want to backpedal for us?
Yes. Cross-country summer training is in full swing, which means I lost an extra like 3 hours out of my day, which I didn't have
To begin with.
And the kids are home all the time. I'm getting like no work done. I'm making no progress on life outside of Camus cross country.
The
Other
house
than
is
that,
the house is full all day now because
Yeah.
the boys are all home.
and we've got driving instruction stuff.
Yeah.
So
Really?
if we run long on this podcast, I'm gonna have to like bolt and go pick up a kid from the driving class, whatever he's at. 911 driving instruction.
Yeah, both my kids went through that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's good. It seems like a good program.
they do a good job.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Cool.
I mean, if you're out on the roads biking, you've been warned. You've been warned.
All the flashers on your back.
Yep.
Post. Yes.
Yeah. You know, they say just put like one or two of those student driver stickers on your car, but I thought that was like just that's the low bar, and I feel like we're gonna take it to the next level.
That's fine.
I've got
Flag.
47 flag. I got 47 stickers all over the car on every angle. You can't actually see the driver, or he can't see the road, but you can see the stickers everywhere.
Have you got behind the wheel with them yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How nerve-wracking was that the first time?
It is.
It's a little bit. I mean, you're excited for him, but at the same time, you're like, oh.
Did I reach over and like, let's make those turns a little bit better, buddy? We started in like the Camus parking lot, and it's been good. He's going to be a good driver. He'll be excellent. He's just got there's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
There's a lot to learn.
Cool.
Yep. That's my back pedal. I didn't say anything about what I've done.
No, you did not.
Been mountain biking because I've been doing Cam's cross country stuff a little bit. And my Achilles has been bugging me, so I haven't been running that much. I've run a couple times, even though I shouldn't because my Achilles is bad. I've just been doing it anyway. And then I have not been swimming. I think I probably like swam like once since we did the podcast last, only because I'm probably gonna have to like put my swimming stuff on pause.
You only swam once in the last month?
It hasn't been a month since our last podcast.
That's how often we do podcasts now, right? It's like
I feel like it's been like it might be like 10 days since our last podcast. I don't know, but the 10 o'clock swim team thing that I do is at the same time as 10 o'clock Camus cross country practice. So I actually need to for the summer put my swim team piece on pause. There's a lot of piece there, and then maybe just use the gym for the weight room and stuff like that on different timing. I don't know. We'll see. Have you been because you were doing big on the weights for a while? Not anymore. Because you're on the bike now. So you give up on weightlifting.
I was on the bike and then I wasn't. Then I was. And
we should go lift.
Not again. So yeah, maybe.
I mean, you have a totally different lifting regimen. You actually lift weights, and I lift a pink padded like little. I don't know what those weights are called, but they're not called weights.
Jake's on full hiatus at the moment.
Oh, I'm excited to hear about your back pedal. Why don't you back pedal next
for us?
The issue that I had relapsed and I have to go back in for another thing, but just kind of where we're at though. Yeah,
dude, you can't catch a break.
He's fighting some medical stuff. It's all good.
We
all do it.
You cannot catch a break.
I'll be perfectly healthy by the first rain in October. So and then
as soon as the rain hits, you're gonna be ready to freaking
golden.
roll.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I've been off the bike for
2 weeks,
3 weeks now ish. I don't know. I think I tried really hard to ride. I wanted to go ride with Sean on our Crashiversary, which was on June 5th, and that was Crashiversary number 7. And I tried riding. It was on, I think it was like the 1st of June was the last time I actually tried riding on the bike. I'm like, this isn't working. So I took some time off thinking, all right, well, just give myself a few days so I can jump on the bike with him. And it just kept getting worse. So I don't know. It's a long story. I haven't been on the bike since. It's been a month.
Arg. PG podcast.
Jake doesn't have a whole lot of editing time today, so no swearing. Gosh, darn it.
Too late. This is the toughest podcast of all time.
Yeah, but we'll go get it sorted out. In the meantime,
Ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, I don't know what I did there, but anyway, you don't want to hear from me. I'm freaking boring. I probably in the past month about 280 hours of work. Yeah, about that.
Really?
Sounds about right. Yeah, and no joke, it's about 70-hour work weeks right now, but it's starting to kind of come to a point where we're getting over that hump. Have made a lot of great progress, and I think I might be able to kind of quasi back off.
I don't know if I believe
reasons.
you on the getting over them. Here's the thing: I think people are going to. The more people spend time at Dial Cycling, the more they're like, "Oh, this is a good place. I'm going to tell my friends about this," and then they're like that, and then everyone's bringing their bikes in for service, and it's like summertime, and everyone wants to bike, and it's like. I can't imagine your life getting.
Jake is like laying some groundwork right now. So if the shop gets busier, he won't get busier.
Correct.
So the groundwork he's laying is what's taking all the time.
Yeah, it's a lot of the online stuff.
You're saying a whole bunch of words. I'm believing none of that.
Training. No, we've been insanely busy with the service work this year, and it started the first week of February, which I was not expecting. But we've done a really good job of staying on top of it. We've got a solid group of people, and I'm super stoked on all of the work that they've put in. They're great people to work with.
Wow.
There's 5 or 6 of us wrenching down there, and it's going smoothly. So
been fun.
Anyway, I don't need to get that too much more. Hepler, because I'm boring and nobody wants to hear about me. Let's talk. Let's talk to you. What did you do? You raced your bike?
I did. I raced my bike this week twice. Did I race twice? Yes, I raced twice.
I mean, Savi shootout is kind of counts.
So that's 3 times?
That's 3.
Yeah. That was harder than the crit race I did, the Savi shootout. Yeah. Anyway, I did the Red R crit on Saturday. I decided to go down and line up. It was a master's field of 35 plus, 50 plus, and 60 plus, all racing together. So there were all these younger masters hitters in the race, which made me nervous that I was even going to be able to stay on.
Wait, was this an open or was it a 3-4-5 or a 4-5?
It was open.
It was open. Okay, so it was everybody.
Yes,
that can hit.
Yes, that's over 35.
Exactly.
Yeah, that wanted to do that Masters race.
Okay.
So, I showed up, and my plan was to just not get dropped and not die and not crash, and I accomplished all 3 things.
All right.
My outside goal was to place in the top 15 of the 50-plus field so that I could get a bar point. So that was all I was kind of shooting for.
Do you care about bar points?
I could win my age group again this year. So I'm not going to win the Masters this year because I want my teammate Chris Surratt to win the Masters bar competition this year.
I like you just the way you are.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to unlock your full potential? I want to introduce you to the Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast, a powerful resource to transform your life today. With expert interviews, practical tips, and inspiring stories, this podcast is your roadmap to lasting wellness. Here's what a listener has to say.
I used to struggle with my health, but this podcast changed everything. It's like having a personal trainer, nutritionist, and life coach totally for free.
With over 2,000 five-star reviews, we're a podcast you can trust. The Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
So hopefully Chris will win that, and I can
that'd be great.
Help him with that. So race started. There were attacks right off the bat, but because it was a group of like 50,
was Surratt at this race too?
He was not. He was on an Alaskan cruise with his family.
Okay,
that's cool.
Yeah. So the attacks started, but nothing stuck. We did not have a break that stuck in our race, and so the attacks that kept going kept coming back. And people were chasing it down. And when you're sitting at 40th wheel and nobody's opening up a gap, it was relatively easy to sit on. I'm saying that in quotes because we still averaged almost 27 miles an hour.
Plus, it's very like, I don't know what the right word is, like wavy, like spiky waves. Like,
yes.
you hit a turn, you get gear up.
You like, there were moments where I'm like full sprinting just to stay on attached. And
it's
then
like,
you go around two corners and
it's
everybody's
like 800 watts or 80 watts. 80 watts or 800 watts. Nothing in between.
Unfortunately, it still shelled people off the back. We still lost 10 or 12 or 15 guys that didn't stay attached. And
did they get pulled?
They didn't. I think they did pull them, unless you pulled yourself.
Gotcha.
But like we had a teammate, Tim Dorman, who was trying to place well in the 60s. So it was just me and him as Dowd Cycling teammates in this race. And I was hoping to be able to help him near the end. And when we got to like 3 laps to go, I'm staying in like the front 20 riders. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I need to find where Tim is. And I look. And
quick question for you. And I should know the answer to this, but I don't for sure. So in a crit race, if you get some sort of mechanical, you can pull into the pit and you can get up to like what, 2, at least 1, sometimes 2 or 3 laps.
Usually a free lap.
It sometimes could be more than that.
Sometimes
though. Just
depends
on and they'll tell you ahead of time.
Correct.
Let's say you get detached. Can you pull into that pit real quick
No.
and say, I got my tires flat. Pretend like you're pumping something up and then jump back in.
It depends on
or like
the Ober officials right there.
They're never there. So I know that's like low rent, but
that is kind of low rent. I don't think you can get away with that, to be honest.
Technically,
with you.
no,
Technically,
but
no.
There might be some gray area there.
Anyway, I when I started looking around for Tim and he wasn't there, he had gotten popped several laps before, and he ended up just pulling himself from the race.
Gotcha.
Which was a bit of a bummer. He was just in the wrong position at the wrong time, and that was it.
Yeah.
All it takes.
That's all it takes in a crit. And so, I mean, just for a fraction of a second, and you're just not going to get caught back on.
Yeah.
So by the time I realized that he wasn't around, I was in terrible position for the final sprint. And so at that point, it's just like, okay, I'm just going to roll to the end. I ended up 12th, so I got a point.
Big points.
I got a crit point.
Big
I'm on the
points.
board for
nice
the
work.
crit board. Yeah, anyway, it was a good time. The race was really fun. The 1-2-3 race was pretty exciting.
Did you say crit boys?
Crit boys.
Because that's okay. So that's a very subtle reference to this YouTube series on Quapface 2.
There's a whole team. Their team is called Thick Crit Daddies.
Oh, my bad. Okay, so
the team is this Travis Richardson's team. It is freaking hilarious. He shows up. The kits have purple and black zebra
stripes on
stripes on him. He wears big gold chains just as a joke, just to be stupid. It's fantastic. I love it. So,
oh my gosh,
Travis was in these races with me.
Did you see the one where they were like going to work out and drinking beer at the same time or whatever it was? Holy smokes,
that's pretty funny.
That group is absolutely hysterical. It's like best content on the internet. It's so good.
This is making me miss Dylan. Do we need to get him back on?
We would love to have Dylan back on. He has been a little bit of MIA in racing.
I'm sure he's busy.
Let's put it out into the world right now and see if he's actually still listening. Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Dylan.
Hit me up, buddy. Let's have you back on.
Please come back. We miss you, buddy. Anyway, the 1-2-3 race is really quite exciting. When they blew the whistle, Zach Kovlicek attacked from the gun and got a gap. He got pulled back with like 10 laps in and eventually attacked again and lapped the field solo.
What?
Whoa.
Wow.
Zach Kovlicek lapped the 1-2-3 field
strong as
solo.
hell, but holy crap.
Yes.
Wow.
He's 42 years old.
I know.
He looks like a teenager. He's freaking strong as he lapped the 1-2-3 field. I'm just so freaking impressed by him. Yeah. Anyway, it was a good race.
Job.
So good job. I got to stop talking. What did I do? That was Saturday. Sunday, I did the Savi Shootout, which is Portland's like race pace practice ride. There was not many people there compared to the last time I went, like a few weeks ago.
How about you not spoil that and tell people where they can go watch the video? It recaps it.
Yeah,
there you go.
I did make a YouTube video about the Savi Shootout.
What about a couple things?
As well as the
Red Arc Crit, as well as the short track race I did on Monday. So
how's your channel doing?
I'm at 920.
You're getting close to that.
Yeah. So
subscribers.
Listeners,
I need a few more subscribers.
Monetized.
I'm getting close.
He can subscribe at 1,000, so he's right there. If you guys are listening and you're not subscribed, it is actually really enjoyable to watch because you get to see all kinds of cool stuff, not just racing stuff, but like cool trails. If you're like me, you'll watch the videos and you'll be like, I'm going to go find him on Strava and mark this route that he did because I want to do this someday.
Another thing that I really enjoy about Lance's videos, it's not just a person that's taking video of a race and putting that up and that's all you get.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes you'll see some metrics or something like that. Lance does a really good job of kind of like building up to it. He does voiceover for the whole thing and it's clipped and he shows some of the good parts and kind of like, builds up some like suspense, if you will, so you want to stick around and watch the whole thing, and he throws little tidbits of information. Yeah. They're well done. Good job, Lance.
They are good.
Nah, sometimes they suck, is what I think.
Sometimes they suck. Sometimes they suck.
You have to go and watch to see which ones
watch all of them, find out which ones suck,
and which ones
and report back to us.
Anyway, so I basically had 3 days of racing in a row, and it was fun. It was all good. I did the short track race at PIR, and I raced the Cat 1 field. It is a 40-plus field, but there were only 5 people in it, and I actually beat 2 people.
I was going to say, and I got fit.
For the first cat race I've done, I actually beat somebody. So, anyway, that was fun.
Good job.
Anyway, enough of that.
Nice work.
Cool.
Let's move on.
Moving on.
Champ Bailey in sports.
Champ Bailey. We're going to open up the dungeon, the door to the downstairs system and let him out. He's been trapped for a long time.
So trapped.
Call her back. Yeah, there you go.
Love it.
What's up?
Champ is here. The only things we're going to talk about are the Oregon Trail gravel grinder. They had a whole bunch of pro hitters at the race this year. It's a 5-day gravel stage race. I have done it 3 times. I did not go this year because it is freaking hard, and you have to be ready for it.
Be fit.
Super fun though. Who was there? Payson McKelvin was there. Cameron Jones was there. Griffin Easter. There was a whole bunch of big hitters who were there. Cameron Jones kind of ran away with it. So he ended up winning several of the stages, and he won by like 2.5 minutes in GC overall. Mm-hmm. So kudos. Cameron Jones is having a hell of a year here. He's won Unbound. He comes and wins Oregon Trail. So kudos to him.
Just real quick for those that don't know, what are you looking at when you're doing Oregon Trails? 5 days of racing.
5 days of racing.
How many miles, how many feet of elevation gain? About how many hours are the pros on the bike?
It's like 350 miles. It's like over 30,000 feet of climbing. You're roughly going to be on the bike 20 hours for the pros and like 25 hours for the idiots like me.
The mere mortals, yeah.
Yes. So it's a lot.
That's big.
It's big.
It's not Tour de France big, but that's big, and it beats the snot out of you.
Yes, there's 2 days that are over 8,000 feet of climbing, and then there's 2 days that are like near 90 miles, and there's one easy day in the middle, easy in quotes, because it's a time trial day, more or less. There's like an uphill time trial, a rolling time trial, and a downhill time trial. And so that's only like an hour and a half long day. So a little bit easier, if you call that. But phenomenal race, gorgeous scenery all around Oregon. Goes from Central Oregon over the Cascades to the Willamette Valley for a couple days, then back over into Central Oregon. Just gorgeous. So Cameron Jones wins the men's race. Sofia Gomez Villafane won the women's race.
Do you think he'll do it next year?
I'm considering it. I do kind of want to go back and do it again. The rumors are that he's switching directions and changing the date a little bit.
Okay.
He's pushing it out a week so it doesn't compete with Steamboat Gravel, which is the other race that happened this weekend, because he lost some pros that would have come to his race that went to Steamboat. So
the pros are cut from a different cloth, but is that still too much to do Steamboat one weekend and then go do a 5-day gravel stage race like Oregon Trail the next weekend and know that, well, it's probably not even going to be the next weekend. You're probably only looking at like a few
3
days.
days.
3 days removed. That's not a lot of downtime.
No, but I mean, the Steamboat is what, a 5-hour race, and you have 3 days off. Those pros can handle it.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. So I think that he'll still get a bunch of people. It is becoming very popular. It is very cool. Oregon Trail is very cool. Payson McKelvin did week or nightly recaps on each stage with his podcast this year. So, which was also really great. So it was fantastic. Steamboat Gravel, that happened. This is a new date because it used to be in August, but they had so much blowback from the ranchers. They moved it to June to try to make the locals happy and completely change the course also to make the locals happy. But anybody who wasn't at Oregon Trail was at Steamboat. So Keegan Swenson and Brendan Wirtz and Brendan Johnson, just everybody else was at Steamboat. And I think Brendan Wirtz ended up winning. He beat with a late move over Keegan Swenson, who took third. So,
wow.
Yeah, so kind of fun, kind of interesting. Alexi Vermeulen was also at Steamboat, so lots of fun.
Cool.
That's it. Champ out. Let's move on.
Champ out.
I did it with nothing but my own blood, sweat, and tears, and extra blood.
People don't. Yeah. You know, this is a sport with literally hundreds of dollars on the line and dozens of fans. The stakes are medium.
Come on.
I like a good medium steak.
If you know on drugs.
Wait, did you just admit to being on drugs?
The EPO Chain Mail. Send us a text with your questions. Forward this podcast to 15 people, and you'll lose 10 pounds overnight without even trying.
You've got mail.
I seriously need to try that. You guys, the listeners delivered again. We got
some questions.
Got a bunch of questions here. Let's start with the first one from a listener in Vancouver, Washington. You guys know where that's at?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
This is from my wife.
Are wide tires on gravel bikes and road bikes the next big thing? 50 plus mil on gravel and 30 plus mil on the road.
Seems like it. I feel like I've seen a lot of people gravitating that direction, but there's also been some pro races where some more narrow stuff came about. There was like, when we were talking about the new tire that you're super envious of. What tire was that?
Reaver.
Yeah. And
I'm racing it on a 45 instead of a 50. Yeah.
Anyway.
It's going through like, I think it's already hit its peak and it's already coming back.
Or maybe it's going both directions.
Or maybe it's going both directions.
I've watched quite a few videos on this, and there's some people that like swear by running the mountain bike tires. Like your Dylan Johnsons of the world was like a 2.1 or 2.2 or something like that, depending upon which brand you're running. And they're saying that that's the fastest. And there's other people that are doing testing that are saying, yeah, not necessarily. It's more of a 45. I think the consensus has been, though, that from more people than not, is that the 45 is kind of a sweet spot for like all terrains, if you will.
Yeah.
Just because like of the climbing and the flats and all that other stuff that you have to do. And the mountain bike tire definitely has its place, and that's going to be the choice tire when it's really rowdy out there. But for overall, when you take in like your average gravel course, your average gravel ride, the 45 tends to be the best all arounder. And I think the next best was like a 38 or something like that.
I think so.
And then it was like a 40, then a 50. And I don't know. It was just kind of all over the place. But
the real answer is just like you alluded to. It depends on the course.
It is course specific. The rowdier the course, the bigger the tire you want. You will be faster, but you will give up speed on the tarmac.
Which is the same, same kind of rules that you have on the road. Like,
correct.
What are the actual road conditions? Well, that, different tire widths are going to handle it differently, and different rolling resistance makes a big difference.
On my new road bike, I have 30s. I'm riding 30s, which I really quite like. But like,
and then you can play with the pressure to get to get a.
But like getting up to sprint speed, you feel it just a little. It's a little bit harder to get up to like sprint speed because you're just.
And I bet if you played with the tire pressure, you could probably have.
However, yes,
a little bit more.
With 30s, I can still do some gravel on my road bike. I actually attacked a couple segments this morning, some gravel segments on my road bike. Did not work because it was a little too rough for 30s, but I tried it anyway. So, I mean, yes, I don't think, I think like if you're doing Paris-Roubaix or, Strade Bianche, I think those guys are all riding like 32s or 30s at the smallest. But at the Tour de France this year, I think most of the riders are going to be on 28s. Yeah. That's my thought. Yeah. And I think that's kind of where it's going.
That's a good guess.
Going back to the gravel side of things, though, if you take the racing and performance component out of it, I think I'm going to default to those mountain bike tires simply because it's that much more comfortable.
It's way more comfortable.
Way more compliant. And I think that lower tire pressure you can run at is really going to mitigate even more punctures or tears or flats.
Fewer flats.
We'll
have fewer flats.
That's a great way to go.
Yes.
And you'll do like Cush course or something in that?
Me personally, no, but you definitely could. Okay. I don't know. I guess I could play with that. I've only used the Cush cores. I think it was when I was running 40s, and they weren't bad. I just didn't like the way that they felt. Maybe I need to tinker with those again with a bigger tire.
Yeah.
So just to see how they feel. But I do quite like the concept behind those. I just don't like the way that they made me feel like it was just too heavy. It was too hard to spin the tires up and to maintain. Not necessarily maintain. It was just getting up to speed. I think it was
accelerating.
So, yeah.
All right, we got to move on.
Yeah,
we got a lot of questions.
So many questions.
Anyway, so to answer your question, yes, that's kind of the trend. And then the road bike tires. And sorry, I know we need to move on. We carry a lot of tires in a lot of different sizes. The 30s are way outpacing everything else right now. It was like
really
the 28s were the thing for a couple of years, and it was fun watching everybody switch from 25s to 28s, and all of a sudden, like the 25s became like relics, and you couldn't sell them, and they're just sitting there collecting dust.
It's so interesting because it was like 20, 18s, and then 22s, and then 23s for a long time. I rode 23s for a long time, and then it was like 23 in the front, 25 in the back, like just like this little progression. All of a sudden, it's like, 28s are now. It's crazy that 30s are the most popular.
And there still are a lot of people that are buying them because their frame can't take a 30, or they're just not wanting to go with that 30. But the only thing that really pisses me off about these road tires is the cost on them now.
Oh my gosh, they have just
there are
skyrocketed.
Some of the nicer performance tires out there that are about $113 per tire. Like, can't you buy a car tire for that much?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I don't set the prices on the tires. I just think it's ridiculous, and I really wish that they would figure out a way to keep those a little bit more affordable. Moving on, let's do the next one. I actually quite like this question. It's another one that comes from that mysterious place called Vancouver, Washington. How do you spark more interest and participation in weekly Strava club rides? That's a good question. How do you guys answer that question?
Dude, if you know of a club ride and 15 or 20 people are going to show up, you're more apt to show up. Mm-hmm. If you think that there's going to be only 3 or 4 people there, you kind of question whether you really want to go. Mm-hmm. So how do you fix that?
I've got one quick thing that I can put on that. The first and foremost thing is, like, when somebody puts that out, don't just show up. Like, hit that RSVP button. I'm going to be there. Announce your presence. And like, if you're going to be there, other people are going to say, oh, I know so-and-so, I'm going to be there. And then another person goes, and then all of a sudden you've got this like, oh, a FOMO. I don't want to miss out on this ride. All these people are going to be, it's going to be fun. So when more people RSVP to those rides, more people show up. But it also takes somebody to go out there and say, hey, you're here. I don't see you on the list. It was like, I should either drop and make you give me 20, or you got to start 10 minutes behind us, or you don't get to ride with us. No soup for you, you know?
Right.
So that's the first thing. Just RSVP. And then tell some friends, hey, come out, RSVP.
That's true.
Makes a difference.
Jake mentioned fear of missing out, and I think that's huge. I think you to self-promote these things, you do, as many photos and things like that as you can, and make sure that that's plastered to social media, places like Strava, you can post pictures to Instagram. There's places you can post things, and I think that adds
100%.
That adds to that little bit of like fear of missing out. Yeah. Like, oh, these guys did this thing, and the weather was nice, and look at them, they're all having fun. And Jake's even smiling. Like
right.
This is like I'm gotta go to this next week, whatever it is. So speaking of which, do we have a Friday fog hat ride going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'd like to go to that sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Get Lance Hampler to show up to your rides too, because he'll make a video about it.
Yeah,
you've actually done a few of them for the Tuesday night gravel ride. So
I've done a couple for the Tuesday night gravel rides. I've done one for the Wednesday lab lunch ride. I've done one for the flogging ride. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Any other suggestions on how to get more people to show up?
Tell your friends to show up.
Yeah,
too.
and share the invite link that you get. Put that out there to the world, and just try and fan the flames, get more people to come out. All right, here's the next one that comes to us from San Francisco, California. What are your tips and best practices for managing pre-race anxiety? Oh. Personally, I am able to sleep initially, but inevitably wake up at some point insanely early to use the restroom and then can't fall back asleep. Is there anything that can be done to mitigate this sort of thing, or should I accept it? And this is,
Jake, did you send this message in?
You would think so, yeah. But no.
Okay, so I've been running into this a lot lately where I get up and go to the bathroom and have a hard time going back to sleep. And it's not great.
Drugs. Take lots and lots of drugs.
Drugs do help. What I've been doing lately is turning on a podcast, and I actually try to find one that's like that I'm interested in, like the subject matter, but it's also a little bit boring. Like there's one on AI that I really like, but the hosts are really boring. They're not nearly as engaging as us. Now, if you're trying to listen to our podcast, we will keep you energized and awake.
Right. You can't.
But I realized as I'm talking about this that I'm on a podcast. Like it just hit me. Yeah, you can't sleep to this, but a boring podcast, and that'll do it. That'll kind of just like, because you are tired, but your mind is racing, and I think the podcast just like distracts you enough to fall asleep.
I don't know if I can do that because my brain will like engage and it'll like glom onto that. But there are
Not
sometimes
if it's boring.
Yeah, I know what you're saying though, like that almost like that ASMR feel about like a nice steady.
I'm gonna give you some podcasts for you to.
But I try and like I said, obviously trying to sleep. I will mentally like go through like a full like route or something like that, or try and like visualize the entire route, or like talk or like think about like things that way, or I'll try to count things in your head, like try and or like go recap your entire day that you just had, like from start to finish, and just think about it through. I can never finish those. That's for me, it's a winning recipe to make me fall asleep pretty quickly. Nice. I have zero problems falling asleep. It's the staying asleep part that
me too.
That's a problem.
Yes,
I visualize the first like half mile of the race that I'm about to do, because it just helps me focus on something and not think about my other issues or trouble, and just think about what's going to happen for that first half mile and kind of see how it goes. I will say pre-race anxiety is very normal at big races. Everybody freaking has it. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I don't get 3 solid poops before the race starts, man, I feel even worse. So I know it's like wake up, get in line for the porta potty, get out of the porta potty, get back in line for the porta potty, and go again, just so that I make sure that it just is like part of the process for me. So,
have your routine. Routine is good. Routine is a great thing if you can learn a race routine, because it takes away the nerves. You're like, no, I'm not worried about this. My next step is that. Yeah. And you just go through your routine.
Yep. Also consider something like magnesium. Was it magnesium glycinate, if I'm not mistaken? It really helps with sleeping, and you can take that before you go to bed. Just be careful not to take too much, because you'll be Lance Hepler at the bathroom.
That's right.
Again and again and again if you take too much of that. So other... What's up?
What was your sleep score last night?
We haven't done that yet today. I actually slept decently well last night, and I might be able to like step up to the table. What you got?
87.
Okay.
87.
Oh, man.
Jokers.
Wait, give me numbers. How many hours and minutes?
744.
749 beat
Jake?
I was at 84
Oh.
with 6 hours and 45 minutes. So
Okay.
not too bad for me. I've had, I think, 2 or 3 days in a row where it's like 6.5 hours. That might not sound like a lot to a lot of people, but for me,
great.
that's magical because I can show you a screenshot of what last week was. And I think there was 4, maybe 5 days where it was like 4.5 hours of sleep. And those were stacked on top of each other. It's not a way to live a life, guys.
Oddly enough, my Whoop score last night, different than my
94, yeah.
Garmin sleep score.
Cool.
What do you trust?
I don't
Don't
know.
trust
Average.
anything.
Average.
Don't trust either.
Don't trust anyone. Trust no one.
Yeah. The other thing with the anxiety too, don't wrap your head up into it too much. If you get like a not so great night of sleep, that's not really going to have a detrimental effect on your race. If it happened like 2 or 3 nights in a row going into that race, might be a different story, but don't get too worked up over that.
Yeah.
That's very true. And if you have a bad night's sleep the night before the race, there's nothing you can do about it. And don't talk yourself out of having a good race.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that. Like, I'm not feeling well, blah, 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 blah. These are all like negative self-talk. And I see it with my athletes all the time. I'm like, are you talking yourself out of having a good race? Don't do that.
Right.
It's pretty straightforward. Like, don't do that. You might have a great race. Sometimes you're feeling sick and you had a crappy night's sleep and you go out there and you have like a personal record or you do absolutely fantastic. So never talk yourself out of having a bad, or talk yourself into having a bad race. Talk yourself out of having a good race.
Right. I like that. Yep. Both.
Okay.
Yep. 6 1 half dozen other.
Yep.
Cool. Any other tips for pre-race anxiety? I think we all get it, and you just have to kind of Do you know many people that don't get pre-race anxiety?
No, everybody gets it.
Everyone gets it.
Everybody.
Yeah. Just, I don't know, it's what it is.
Mine's way better than it used to be because I don't care as much about my races.
It's funny. As I've been competing in mountain bike Cat 1 races,
Yeah.
my pre-race anxiety at those races is gone.
No, because you're like, I'm not going to win.
I'm just trying to make a video and be comic relief.
Exactly.
I'm here for one job. I got one job.
I'm making a video.
Yeah,
That's it.
good. You're a professional YouTuber.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to the next one. Thank you for that question. That was a good one. I think we can probably dig into that a little bit more in the future.
We can, for sure.
All right, next question from Connecticut.
Wow.
Okay.
Connecticut. Can you explain how people can justify paying around $1,000 for a Garmin watch? That's a good question.
Oh. Do you want us to try to justify it, or do you want us
Mr.
to,
Matt,
do you want
the
us to
Grand Tech
try
Reviewer, YouTube
the Garmin prices have gotten out of control, and I think some of it is due to tariffs, and I think some of it is due to crazy out of control pricing from Garmin. I don't know what's going on. How do you justify that? If I'm stretching for justifications, it's a tool that you can have additional reporting on your both recovery as well as your actual training. You're going to get good stats as far as accuracy goes with the volume of training that you're doing. You got very good GPS accuracy. Heart rate accuracy is excellent as well on these watches. Some of the tools, like there's so many people that just want to get the best watch, and those are expensive.
Yep.
In fact, sitting around this table, there's some expensive watches, and it's just like, hey, the old saying of like buy nice or buy twice.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll see athletes and they'll be like, yeah, I just need something that does the basics or whatever. And they get a good solid watch, whatever it is. It's maybe $200 or something like that. And it does fine. Things like durability, it might get scratched more easily. Depending on which brand you're talking about, there might be more bugs than there would be on like a Garmin watch, for example. Oftentimes when you do get in that really, really expensive range, you've got different materials on the watch. So that's like titanium, you've got a sapphire front crystal display, and those really are quite a bit more durable than the other lenses on tops of the watches. And so if you bang your watch into something, or you're out mountain biking, you hit a tree with your watch, I mean, the sapphire lenses are really impressive. My wife has like 2 big scratches across the front of her watch display, and it's very hard for me to look at. I'm like, oh, how did that happen? Like it's tough to see on that watch because it's a nice watch. She knows someone that has a lot of watches, so she's good, but it's like she still wears that watch with these 2 massive scratches on it because she likes the watch. But and I'm like, okay, well, let's just try and put like a watch screen protector on there. It stays on there for a little bit and then peels off, and it's like, okay, So, I think that if you're a savvy shopper, you can definitely buy watches for less than $1,000. So, in fact, you can always get last season's watch for
significantly less. Yeah.
The over $1,000 watch you might get for significantly under $1,000. So there's ways around it for sure. But I think the question was, can you talk me into that expensive Garmin watch? And I try my best.
So, I mean, yeah, the Phoenix 8, I think the full 51 millimeter sapphire titanium is like $1,200 if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
That's a lot of freaking money. Would you feel compelled to buy that over, say, the 570 or the 970? I mean, I know that.
Are you talking to me personally, or?
Well, let's say that you're not YouTube tech reviewer guy, and you're you're an athlete that wants to be able to track all the data. I mean, can you justify going from the 570 or the 970 up to that Phoenix 8?
I think there's all these different aspects to it, right? Like, how do you use this watch? What are you using it for? What's your income level, and what is your disposable income like?
Income.
That's really important. And I think a lot of people have a hard time with this because they'll send me a question. It's like, what's the best watch? Well, the best watch is actually this $3,000 thing or whatever. And it's great, whatever. It's fantastic. Is that the best watch for you to purchase? If you're, making $20,000 a year, I wouldn't suggest that, but you do you, your budget is totally different than me. And actually, I'm actually a lot cheaper. I own all these watches, but the reality is I wouldn't buy I love the Phoenix. I probably wouldn't buy that for myself. I'd probably buy something like the Forerunner 970. That's a nice watch, but it's not the Phoenix edition. It is really expensive right now. Or I would probably lean towards getting something that's a year older. I really like the Epix Gen 2 or the Epix Pro because it does have a flashlight. All of those things, and I'm all about saving money if I can save money. So you can get really nice watches at a better price. And in fact, even something like the Garmin Forerunner 265, which is last year's 200 series watch. So that's kind of like Garmin's. It's not their most basic watch, but it's one level up from that. And it does triathlon, and it's a beautiful screen, and it's $100 off right now. So it's $350 instead of $450. It does not have a flashlight. So yeah, Jake asked if it had a flashlight, and it does not. So that's the trade-off. And I would miss the flashlight only because I've actually had the flashlight for a long time, and I know about that feature. I would miss that. And even the newer model of that 200 series, it's called the 570, and the naming is very odd. I will make a video about that, but it also does not have a flashlight. So there's all these little things there are little things that are great to have. But I would want it to be able to do triathlon, and I would want it to be able to be a strong swim, bike, run watch. There's so much stuff body battery and all this stuff. I can live without that stuff. There's a lot I can live without. And body battery is something that people love. It's just I can live without a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd necessarily need the body battery because I know. And the other thing that kind of drives me nuts too is the fact
training readiness. I love training readiness. I could probably live without it.
I don't ever use that. I mean, I know how I feel, and I'm not going to let that determine, because if I feel great and I look at my training readiness and it says that, and you're like, screw you, I'm going to go out and do my thing.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily need that. But
so you're like me, you can probably get by with a watch from 4 years ago.
Sure.
Because it's need the GPS, needs to be able to connect to a power meter, needs to be able to, I'd love for be able to connect to a radar in case I need backup. There's basic things, and a lot of the watches can do that now.
I like Matt alluded to, the nicer materials, because I'm always banging into stuff and doing all kinds of stuff. And I don't want to look at my watch and say, well, I spent $600 or $700 on this watch, and now my screen looks like absolute garbage. And if I'd spent a little bit more, then it would have been protected. I mean, yes, you can put the screen protector on there, but do that. And then it has to have a flashlight. It has to. And I like the bigger watch, not because I'm a bigger person, but I like the fact that it's got a bigger battery in there, which means it's going to last longer. So
the Garmin Instinct has that kind of little bit of durability because it does have this kind of raised bezel design. It kind of it looks like a beefy watch because it kind of is. The screen isn't actually sapphire, but it also has a flashlight.
Yep.
And that's, I want to say $500 for that watch. And that's a good option for a lot of people. And it kind of hits all the check marks.
Yep.
I don't know. There are watch options for under $1,000 for sure.
Will they ever change the body battery to go to 0?
It goes to 1.
I thought it goes to 5. I could have swore it just goes down to 5 and it stops.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of training readiness. Maybe training readiness goes down to 1. I've seen 1 on training readiness. I think I took a picture because it's you partied way too hard last night and ran around and did
and slept for an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was I think it was at the Apple event. I was running around with Ray and Des and stuff like that, and they were out all night partying, and it's just Training readiness 1. Good luck at your Apple event today. It's like,
I just wish that they would rethink that and maybe change how they pull from the body battery to give you a more accurate score. And then instead of stopping at 5, I wouldn't even be opposed if they went into the negative. Like, hey, you're kind of borrowing from tomorrow for today. You might want to take that into consideration. I don't know. I've had days where I've buried myself and it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I still got a bunch of stuff and it's like completely done. It says I'm at 5 and that's as low as it's going to go.
5 is as low as it goes.
Yep. And then it doesn't do anything else for the rest of the day. I'm like, well, that doesn't really do much for me. So,
good question.
I know
good question.
I don't really care about it too much, but I do enjoy checking out the steps. I like to see how much I moved during the day.
I like steps.
Yeah.
I love having like my step things. But all the watches do that.
They all do that.
Yeah.
Mostly.
So justifying $1,000 watch, I don't know.
Maybe. Okay. We discussed ourselves around the issue and we came back with a maybe.
Yeah, I think that they have good purpose, a good reason, but are they overpriced? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
It's all relative.
You guys want to do the last one or should we save it for next week? Because it just came in yesterday.
Save it.
All right. So another one of the.
It's a good question, I guess.
Well, we've got a lot of stuff still to talk about, so let's save it. We'll come back to this one.
We do have a big day today.
Next week. Hopefully, we'll get it done next week. And it does allude to something about Sir Ian, so it'd be nice to kind of maybe loop Ian into that. So a little teaser. Cool. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about the Tour de France, guys. It's Le Tour time.
Le Tour. Favorite time of year. This is probably my favorite podcast of the year. When we do our predictions,
I'd like the predictions, or maybe the live podcast too. When we do
live podcasts are good. We got to do that. Or any of our like live podcasts when we were like celebrating like 200th episode. Those are also probably my favorite. Maybe that is my favorite. I don't know. Maybe I'm lying to you guys. You never know. Okay, so Tour de France. What we typically do is we'll go around the table and we'll go. Maybe we don't start with GCs or whatever, but we talk about like our polka dot jersey potential winners, like who we pick, and we take notes on this stuff, and we'll come back and we say like who we think the winner around the table is. We also talk about the best teams. Typically, we usually go over like which teams we think are going to be good. I think we usually talk about sprinters. I feel like
big giant question mark this year.
I know, and I don't feel like I know. I feel like I haven't been paying close enough attention to cycling to be like, this is my pick. I'm positive. Other years, there's been like some more. I think I feel like maybe I just knew more or followed it a little bit more closely in the sprinting side of things. And then, of course, our GC picks.
How about we start with the question, who's going to win the Tour de France not named Tadej or Jonas?
Oh.
Hey.
Well, we can do that.
I mean,
Remco is there. Primoz is there.
I want to hear who you guys think is going to win the Tour.
Okay, so that's it. I mean, the big 4 names at the moment are Pogačar and Remco and Jonas and Roglic, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, they're all there. I didn't think Roglic was going to be there.
Right.
But
I didn't think Roglic was going to do it.
He is going to be there. So
good for
him.
He's
be there for the first 5 or 6 races.
For the first 10 days. Poor Roglic.
Beat the crap out of him.
I would like to see him have a good one. I would love that.
Yep.
He's earned it, guys.
Pogačar, he's really hard to bet against this year at the moment.
Well,
if I was a betting man, I would bet against him.
Yeah,
because the odds,
something's going to happen.
The odds for him are just like so good that you're like, you bet $1, you win $1. Way to go!
I can tell you without any question that he's going to beat Jonas because Jonas just got jinxed.
I'll take that
a few days ago. And
what happened?
You want to know why?
What happened to Jonas?
I talked to our good friend Evan Price, and we were talking Le Tour, and I'm like, all right, so who's going to win the Tour? Not named Tadej. Oh, I got a hot take on that. Tadej's not going to win it. Jonas has got this thing hands down. I'm like, yep, Jonas just crashed out.
I think Evan Price for once might be right.
You think so, huh?
Okay, look, there's 2 time trials, and right now, Jonas has been a little bit better time trialist than Pogačar. The first one is flat. The second one is not really a time trial. It is a.
Do you remember how the Tour finished last year, Lance?
Okay, I know, but.
Wow.
But Jonas is more on it this year than last year. Am I going to bet against Pogačar? No, I'm not. But
I got a question for you, though. What was the last stage
What
race?
are we betting anyway? Beers?
What was the last stage race?
The Dauphiné. They were together.
Okay. Do you think Jonas was playing or not Jonas, but yeah, do you think Jonas was playing possum a little bit, like kind of like holding back and not trying to show all of his cards?
Didn't look like it.
No.
You think he went all out? You think he wanted to beat Tade?
I think he wanted to look more competitive.
Yes, for sure. But Pogačar also didn't do well in the time trial. And was that a little bit of gameplay, or did he really?
I think he
went for it.
I think he knows. He was like, I got to go work on my time trial a little bit. Where he was interviewed at some point, and he was like, maybe this is I think I mentioned this in the other podcast where he was like, no, I'm pretty good. I think I got this. Like he was so confident, like I don't need to work on anything. He was like, maybe I'll get on the time trial a little bit, get on the time trial bike and ride it. So I think he knows he needs to work on his time trialing a little bit. He's so fit though. It's just a matter of like hitting a good time trial on a course that's more difficult, like a climbing stage that would suit him okay. I remember like him winning the Tour against Roglic in the time trial. Yeah, that was probably one of the better finishes of the Tour.
Incredible. Tade and Jonas both came through the spring season unscathed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remco got hit by a postal carrier car door.
And he have a crash too.
I think he did hit the deck at one point in time, but it was
he
minor.
Crashed in the Dauphiné, but it was minor.
Okay. And Roglic crashed out as well.
Yeah,
Roglic crashed out of the Giro.
He crashed on the days that he rode his bike, I think.
So I mean,
it's just such an easy target.
I know.
Do you think that those latter two have any chance of being higher on the podium than Jonas or Tade? I mean, honestly.
I mean, one of them, Jonas or Tade has to have like a bad day, and Remco is riding out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
is Remco good for 3 weeks? I mean, he's going to have his big days, and he'll probably do better than he did last year, which was better than the year before.
He
but
is definitely improving in these stage races for sure.
But does he have 3 weeks in him?
I don't know.
It seems
He had a
like
rough
his thing is like halfway through these 3-week Grand Tours, he just kind of has a really bad day and like kind of just mails it in. It's like, all right, we're going to go stage hunting now.
At the Dauphiné, he had one terrible day.
Yeah, and that's all it takes.
And that's all it took.
And does he have the team around him to make this happen?
No, he doesn't. What Quickstep? Who does Quickstep have? I mean,
I don't know.
It's not big. Let me look. I'll read off Quickstep.
He does not obviously have the team. Well, we're talking about teams. We could go around and have our top team picks if we want to, but like I don't think he has the team that Jonas has or Tade. Like,
Quickstep.
I think that's pretty obvious.
He has Matteo Cantaneo. I don't even know these. Pascal Ukerhorn.
Ukerhorn.
Tim Merlier, who's a sprinter. Valentin. Maximilian Schachmann. Van Wilder, Lebirgo. No.
Wilder from the movie. He's out. I didn't even know he was a cyclist.
Yeah,
it's kind of a B squad in comparison to some of the other bigger teams.
Is.
I mean,
but if he can stay at the back of their teams, then you can surf well enough. You know,
it's just not as easy.
It's not as easy.
What happens if you?
He's a better time trialist.
What happens if you take Remco off of a Quickstep and you plug him into Jumbo-Visma in place of Jonas, or into UAE in place of Tadej Pogačar,
or more realistic Ineos,
or you take the place of Roglic on Red Bull. Bora Hansgrohe, or is it Bora Red Bull?
It's Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe.
Gotcha. What happens if you put him on one of those teams that has a little bit more of a better supporting cast?
Is Roglic one of the supporting casts? Because
Roglic is their GC guy now.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying like if they were working together, then you have this situation where
two-headed monster thing.
Well, you kind of have like that Remco Jonas back in the day when it was like, oh, they can attack against someone like Tade.
That actually wouldn't be a bad call, simply because Roglic is at the end of his career. I mean, he doesn't have too many more years left in him.
He's 39, so really he is at the end.
And then you've got an Ineos, like you guys just alluded to. They've got some decent hitters in that squad, and you've got what's his butt graduating. He's going to be finishing things up. Geraint Thomas. Yes, thank you.
This is he's more or less said this is his final
year
race.
Yeah,
this is it.
Yeah. What was his name again?
Geraint Thomas.
Okay. Remco. Yeah, he's big six, whatever. I think he would do better if he was on one of those other teams, but I still don't know if he's got it in him to be a 3-week kind of guy. Like 1 week, sure. 1 day races, yeah, great. Time trial, absolutely. Olympics for sure. I mean, he's already proven his salt there, but I just don't know if he's got the 3 weeks under the hood yet.
No, but I don't think there's a better time trialist than Remco at the moment.
He's pretty stinking slippery.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I don't think he'll win the second time trial because it is
Uphill?
It's a Cat 1 climb, basically.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I don't know. Back to Matt's question. Who's going to be the best team this year? Where are you putting your money at? You got
I want to say Visma.
That's what I think too. Visma Lisa bike.
It's pretty,
I think so.
Pretty solid, but I mean,
it's there's two teams.
Take a look at UAE.
UAE is freaking
so good.
stacked. You want me to read you the
Ayuso
list
is working for Tade this year.
Yes.
So he's swallowed that bit of pride. Like he wants to be the man. And he said he wants to go, basically work for Tade.
So
they're pretty deep.
I'll read their team list. Velo News, they put out a list 5 hours ago with all the teams on it. Sure. It is not 100% accurate. I've already found problems with it. But so because we really won't know exactly who's on the team until they announce the team the day before.
It's like when they come and sign. I mean,
yes.
It's right then and there. Yeah, it's
So UAE has Yao Alameda, freaking rock star. Narvaez, don't know him. Some guy named Pogača. Niels Pollitt, freaking motor on the flats. He's a big guy and just can kill it. Sivakov, great climber. Mark Soler, great climber. Tim Wellens and Adam Yates. I mean, that team is stacked.
And the way that we kind of scored this is like all the people that finish, what place are they in the overall? I think it's how they scored the team thing, right?
It's like your 5 best
scores.
General
your
classification 5
scores.
lowest times is what it is.
Visma
Lisa Bike has
there's some big names, yeah.
Yes, it has Jonas Vingegaard, Simon Yates, Sepp Kuss, Matteo Jorgensen, all big stage race winners.
I mean, those guys are like GC contenders on their own.
Yep.
They're all superstars.
And then you also have Wout van Aert.
But the thing about Wout is he might not finish super high up overall. He could if he wanted to, but I think he'll be going for stage wins. And
do you think he'll throw us out in the ring for green jersey this year?
Why don't we can talk about green jerseys next?
Well, let's finish up the team stuff.
Victor Kampenaerts, Tish Benoot, Edward Affini. I mean, Visma is
I think Visma Lisa Bike's the team.
Stacked.
Yeah, I really want to say UA, but I can't, knowing that list of people on Jumbo Visma that are going to be there, or not Jumbo Visma, Visma Lisa Bike.
We can call them Jumbo Visma. You can call them that.
That's just too deep. I mean, that, in my opinion, that's the best team, hands down. But gosh, that's a two-headed monster between those two. Like, how do you take a team and try and go up against them? I don't think that there's any chance of Bora or Quickstep being able to compete with those two teams. If they want to hurt you, they're going to hurt you, and I don't think they have the depth to make that happen.
That's pretty unbelievable.
I agree.
Insane.
Okay.
All right,
green jersey.
Okay, green jersey. This is a hard question because we have Philipsen in the field. Yep. We have Jordan Meuse in the field. Biniam Girmay, but he's sucked this year
so far.
Maybe he's been saving himself.
Maybe he's been saving himself. What other sprinters do we have?
Oh crap! What was his name?
Exactly.
Trek. What's his name?
Not Quinn Simmons.
No, somebody else. Mads Peterson.
Jonathan Milan.
What, Mads Peterson?
Mads Peterson is not going to the tour.
Why?
I don't know. He's not on the list.
He had a great spring.
But Jonathan Milan is a more pure sprinter than Mads Peterson.
Okay.
So I think they're taking Jonathan Milan. This is Lidl Trek. They're taking Jonathan Milan over Mads Peterson, and because he had such a great spring, whatever. But it's like Lidl Trek team does not have it doesn't have Quinn Simmons on the list. And Quinn Simmons on his Instagram page yesterday said, "Going to France, I'm on the team."
Huh.
So this Villa thing isn't quite exactly accurate. So does that mean
drama?
Is Mads Peterson going to show up on here? Now, freaking Quinn Simmons had a phenomenal tour of Swiss, and I think that was enough. They're like, "Hey,
did we say like
need to bring this guy?"
Okay.
So
we need his handlebar mustache there. Just that alone. Hopefully, he still has that.
Straight up redneck American is just like. Every classic cliche of an American is Quinn Simmons. It's just
beautiful.
Love it.
Everybody knows who he is.
So who are you taking for your green jersey?
I still want to think it's going to be Philipsen because guess who's leading him out?
Van der Poel.
Matthew Van der Poel.
Yeah.
I mean, if they stay Now, Phillipsen has had a suck year too so far.
Yeah.
So
I don't think he's going to be the top. Like if you're like looking at if you're looking at betting people, I'm guessing they're not picking him because I don't think he's had a great season prior to this, but he's kind of like, I don't feel like I know the field well enough to pick someone else. So I'm just like, I guess him.
Yeah.
That's my pick.
Again, going back to Wout, has he said anything? Has he alluded to what he wants to do? Because usually he'll put it out there and like he'll actually kind of follow through on that. So he's being kind of coy.
I think he's just going to go for stage wins.
You think so?
But that could be green jersey can come with that. Maybe.
So the first 10 days of the tour, there isn't a mountain stage.
Right.
And there's some hilly stages, there's some rolling stages, there's some stages that would definitely favor Van der Poel and favor Wout van Aert, you know? But there's also some straight up flat sprint stages. There's only a couple of them, but there is. And so will Wout get the freedom to go? He's kind of a unique talent, just like Van der Poel.
I hope they give him the leash to go.
Just to go, yeah.
Because, I mean, Jonas has such good coverage.
So, yeah.
He has such good coverage that I feel like, Wout should be able to go and do his thing. We'll see. That'll be fun to watch, just these little tiny things within the tour. Like, is Wout going to go for some stage wins in the first 10 first 10 days of the tour? I mean, I really think that they should let him. They might be super conservative and say, we need you to look after Jonas. I don't know. I don't think they will. We'll see. The other thing that you guys were talking about Americans, but like, do we have a top American pick? I mean, Matteo Jorgensen's my top pick.
It's Matteo, it's Sepp, it's Quinn Simmons, it's
Niels Pollitt.
But who do you think?
Niels Paulsen.
Or Paulsen, sorry. Yep. We're talking about
Paulus.
But he doesn't have a team. He doesn't have the same team around him.
No, he's on EF education.
You know what's a bummer about EF? Carapaz had to pull out after having a great spring. He's got like a stomach virus and had to bounce on that. So that's a real
the
bummer.
team that we would want to win, but I'm afraid they don't have the firepower.
I don't know.
Do you have a favorite American that you'd be pulling for all of this, or just any American?
I really like Sepp and Matteo. Those are probably my two favorites. And Quinn Simmons. I mean, you can't. He's just a cool dude. I mean, I don't know.
The problem with both of those guys is they have a job to do.
Correct.
And it's not be the top
Matteo and
GC.
Sepp have a job to do.
Right.
Okay, something happens to Jonas.
Quinn might have a little bit more leash than those two.
Okay, something happens to Jonas. Who steps up and goes GC for Lisa Mike?
Whoever hasn't like thrown the anchor out on one of the mountain stages.
Well, I would think that like Sepp would still be the helper to someone like Matteo.
Matteo had a good spring again.
I think he really is.
Won
I think he's really good. Like
Matteo won Paris-Nice and was like second or third in a couple of the monuments or in some of the big,
I will say
races.
Jonas is better than him.
Yes, Jonas is better than him.
He's better
he
than
can
him.
definitely climb better than him.
But that would be he'd be my pick for top American. And Sepp, who knows what Sepp's going to do? I mean, he's like we said, both these guys have a job to do. And Sepp may, when he does his job and it's over, he may throw the anchor out and be like, and I'm good. Or he may be like, hey, we need to be careful here because he'll be high up enough in after some of those stages that he might need to just kind of keep an eye on something. Sometimes you'll see him like drop back and find someone that they want to kind of keep an eye on and do that. Just kind of follow Remco up to the finish of the climb or whoever it is. But I don't know.
Gotcha.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch.
Random question for you.
Okay.
We have Wout van Aert, we got Matthew Van der Poel.
Yep.
Both solid, exceptional riders. I would personally say that Van der Poel had a better spring.
Oh, yeah.
Did fantastic. Both of them are going into the tour more as workhorses for people. They're there to do a job for people, but they're gonna have their moments where they get to shine. They're gonna go after something. Who has better tour out of the two of those guys? Because I feel like in years past, it's been Wout.
Yeah.
Is Matthew Van der Poel finally going to have a better year?
That's a great question. Well, I think, Matthew Van der Poel, if you look at the entire cycling year, yes, no matter what Wout does at the tour, I feel like MVP's had such a good year. It's definitely, he's had the best year between the two. I could imagine that Wout could potentially win more stages than MVP. Like I could see MVP like maybe winning a stage or two at the most, whereas Wout could probably win 5 or 6 stages. He's crazy sometimes when he's firing on all cylinders and he wins Mont Ventoux or whatever it is. Like it wasn't Mont Ventoux, was it? It was some mountain stage.
It might have
Altuez.
been.
No, it was Altuez.
It was not Altuez.
It wasn't? What was it? It was
No.
something like that. Anyway, something stupid like that. You're like, who is this guy and what can he not do?
Yeah.
I could see him having a better tour. I think his run going into the tour has been healthy. Someone should correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like I could see him having a better tour.
Yeah.
So that's my pick. I think MVP for the year total was better. Wout for this particular tour. For this next 3 weeks, I think he'll have a better 3 weeks.
Gotcha.
That's my
What do you think, Lance?
Wout has made some questionable decisions this year and lost some races he shouldn't have lost and struggled a little bit early.
Do you think he's getting old?
I hate to say that.
They're what,
but
within like a year or two of each other, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're pretty close. But Van der Poel also broke a bone in his wrist at a mountain bike race, but he still did the Dauphiné or whichever. What did he just? He did one of those.
I think it was Dauphiné, and he looked good.
He was good.
Yeah.
He was good. So they're both like
he was covering the
battling
breaks
a couple things. So I think it is a dogfight between those two.
It's a toss-up for sure.
But they're both working for teammates. They're not there for themselves. They will only be given free reign like on probably 2 or 3 stages is my guess.
There's only going to be a couple stages where they may go toe-to-toe.
Yes.
And those will be fun to watch.
And if it's flat sprint stage, it's not Van der Poel because he's going to be leading out Philipsen.
What if Philipsen
Right.
turns out to be Jasper the Disaster this year and it's just not working out? Would they move Van der Poel into that slot to start getting some green?
I think so.
Green jersey nods?
You don't
No?
think so?
No.
You think they're just
not
going to see it
green
through to the end?
jersey points, but he could sprint.
He can sprint, but he can't out sprint Milan, and he can't out sprint.
I think
Jordan
it depends on
Muse,
it's going to
and he
depend
can't
on the
out-sprint-
stage.
Yeah,
It's going to
So,
depend on the stage. He needs
if-
some lumpy stuff.
If there's a little kick or something at the end, yeah, Van der Poel's your man.
Yeah.
But
I wanna look
if
at-
it's a flat sprint stage, he's not going to beat Milan.
What we need to do is, I don't have this in front of me, but it'd be nice to have all the stage descriptions in front of us so we could be like, okay, this is clearly an MVP stage because those do exist. We just need to like look it up and see like where it is, and we need to earmark it, and we need to watch it, and we need to have
Sure.
some colorful
There's
commentary
a couple in the first
in the first week. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. MVP had a better spring, obviously, but Van Aert, he's no slouch
Nope.
by any means at all. I mean, who else can you think of in the modern era that's won a mountain stage, a sprint stage, and a TT
Right.
in the same tour?
In the same tour.
That's your boy Wout right there. That's pretty spectacular and
crazy.
But that was 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, true.
He's had like more kids since then.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah,
that'll get
he's
you.
birthing those kids. I don't know. He tore up from the floor up now, right? I don't know. That's just gonna be fun to watch.
What have we missed? Have we gone over GCs? You guys want to? We should go through all of these picks real quick and just give names so that you can write them down
Sure,
on like
yeah, go for
our
it.
picks, so that we can come back and visit. Like, do we want to go through? So GC, I'm going to wait and hear what you guys have to say for GC, because if you guys both pick Tade, then I'll pick someone else.
What you got, Lance?
If I'm going first, I'm picking Tade.
Yeah, you can't
first.
not take
You're
Tade.
gonna go Tade?
I gotta take
Okay, then
Tade.
I'll take Jonas.
Okay.
Okay.
So green jersey.
Green jersey. I'm going to say Jakob Philipsen.
I'm going to say, wait.
Wow, maybe. Throw out something fun.
I'll say not Milan because he won't. You know
You don't
what?
think Milan's going to finish or something?
I'm going to say
I think that's
I'm going to say Tade for green jersey.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to say it.
What?
You think he's going to try and pull something?
I don't think he's going to try to. I think he's just going to, by default, win it because there are so many like hilly stages where he's just
Just
going to
get some points.
drill it. He's going to get points. He's going to get points.
He also does like to sprint sometimes for like when you're like, oh,
wait.
that might come back in.
Hill climb, I'm saying Tade. I'm going Tade.
For polka dots, you're
For
taking
polka dots.
For polka dot jersey.
and
jerseys.
Team Tade. You're going to take Team
I'm
Tade
just
too.
gonna take- and I'm going to take UAE.
all right.
I'll take UAE
Okay.
just
to
to
keep it fun.
Just to keep it straight.
All right.
Matt, you want to go down the list?
Okay, so GC, I'm gonna go Jonas. Green, I said. Who did I say?
Jasper,
For
was it?
Jasper Philipsen, and then for
Polka dots?
For polka dots, I think I'll go Jonas again because I think really the reality is whoever wins GC wins polka dot jersey.
Sure.
In modern era, and then on team wise,
That hasn't happened. Well, that didn't happen in the Giro.
okay.
It was somebody else in the breakaway every day who won
I
the.
love that.
Yeah.
It makes it so much more fun.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case on the team. Visma.
Visma?
Jumbo Visma, aka Visma Lisa Bike.
Visma Lisa Bike. There's no Jumbo
No,
anymore.
we need the Jumbo. Jumbo was kind of fun. Made it fun. All right.
It was a grocery store chain, right? And then they had some issues with like their CEO getting in a little bit of trouble.
Oh,
and-
yeah. Anyway,
that's neither here nor there.
Always drama.
All right, I'm taking Tade.
Safe.
Going for the green jersey. I'm going to say Wout. I think for some reason, I think that he's never won that, correct? Did he win that year that he won the 3 different stages? I don't think he did. I don't think he's won it. And I think
I don't think he's won.
I think he wants to take a stab at that. I don't know. We'll just see that's going to happen. And then for the polka dots, God, it's kind of hard not to say Tade.
Yeah, generally speaking, the polka dot and the GC jersey go together these days.
Yeah, it's kind of one and the same. So I kind of have to go with that, but I'm going to go with Visma for the best team. Those are freaking boring picks, but it's kind of hard not to because there's not so much parity out there.
Top American.
Top American.
Can we add that into the list?
Sure, why not?
Can I take Mateo before you guys join? Before you guys snag him? I think Steph is a good guess too, but I'm going to take Mateo.
How about you, Lance?
Top American, I'm saying Sep then.
Okay.
Matt took Mateo, and then
wait, is there American on UAE? I should take that. There's not. Never mind.
There's that Brandon McNulty, but he's not there.
He's not there.
I like Brandon McNulty.
If this list is
where's
right.
he been this spring? Is he still on UAE?
Yeah, I think so.
I
mean, that guy was a beast. I can remember a few
He
stages
won a
where
time trial.
Exactly, a few
This
stages.
season?
Yeah, it was at the Tour of UAE or something like that. Wasn't that
It may have been
one of those? I don't know. I got to take Mateo as well. Sorry, Matt. So
no, that's good.
I know that there's not much going on there, but that's I don't know. I like Mateo. I think he's just a good dude.
I just hope he has a good race.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, good times.
Okay, Ian is picking Garrett Thomas.
It's got to be all British people.
For GC. For the climber, it's going to be Simon Yates.
Yeah.
For the green jersey, it'll be Adam Yates. And
Okay,
for the
Top American.
Top American,
Throw a British guy in there.
will be what's the Red Bull guy's name? He's not even at the race. His team's not even there.
Ian seems like a big Quinn Simmons
Alberto
kind of guy,
Salazar.
right? That's right. Little hick, you know.
And Alberto Salazar.
Alberto Salazar for Top American. For Top American. Good
Alberto
choices.
Salazar. He's a
Good pick,
marathoner.
Salazar. Is that what I said? Alberto Contador
You
Salazar.
said Alberto Salazar.
That's even better.
That's
He's American though.
He is American.
So that counts. As opposed to Contador.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at for the opening stage? Do you have any intel on that? Do you have that pulled up by chance?
Carnage. We're looking at Carnage. First stage of the tour every
First
year is
stage.
just like, remember that one year where the road was like slicked down with oil? That was so bad. It's a shit show anyway, and then there's oil on the road. Come on tour.
For the first time in several years, it's actually starting in France. It's in Lille, France. It is it's a flat stage for the sprinters. Starts in Lille, ends in Lille. So we'll kind of see how that goes. So that's all I know.
Are there any key stages that you have seen on there that we should be keeping our eyes on? At least for like the first week. Is there anything in there for the first week that's going to be? It's just
Other than the time trial is on day 5, and nothing. Actually, the first 10 days, there's going to be some drama. There's going to be stuff that happens, but nothing in the stages looks like, oh, I can't miss that.
Are you guys in town to watch all this stuff? I'm going to be out of town like Friday and Saturday, and probably I'll miss Sunday morning too because it's a morning. It's all the morning stuff. So I'm going to miss like a lot of the.
I'm going to be. The race starts on Saturday.
Saturday.
Correct? On July 5th.
July 5th.
I'm going to be in Spokane. My son's got some track meet out in Spokane that he has to go to, and
track meet in Spokane.
He was up in Seattle last weekend for some
We'll have to talk.
Is it
invitational
Junior
meet.
Olympics? Is it Junior Olympics?
Something like some qualifier for Junior Olympics or
This
something.
is awesome. I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah,
That's cool.
We'll talk about that later, but yeah, I'll be out there in Spokane. But it will be on my phone, and I will be watching on Peacock.
Yeah.
Peacock, right?
Peacock.
The Peacock app. I've got one last thing for the Tour de France.
Let's hear it.
What's the over/under on the number of stages Roglic makes it to?
10 tops.
10? Okay.
I say 10.
10 is that's a nice safe
So
bet.
over under for that.
Over/under 10. What do you say, Matt?
I think he goes over 10 this time. He's going to make it over 10. I want him to have a good.
So
good
Lance
day.
is calling the over/under at 10. Are you taking the over or the under even money?
Under.
10. Lance is going under.
Just
Matt,
that first week, man, it's looking brutal. Carnage, pure carnage.
Matt, are you taking the over or the under?
I'm going to take the over.
Over? Okay. I'm going to take the under as well.
Oh, no.
Oh, you know what? No,
Okay,
what? I'm going to take even money.
Even money.
Even
10.
money. Yep.
I'll go
that's good.
under. Matt is over.
Okay, that's
and,
good. It makes for entertaining bets. And what are we betting on all of this stuff? Beers?
Beers it is.
Would you drink non-alcoholic beer? What would you?
Why would I drink any kind of beer?
Because the non-alcoholic just tastes even worse. Beer tastes bad to you. The non-alcoholic is just even worse. Okay, we'll come up with something for Lance. Hard alcohol.
That sounds
something.
good. You know what? Fun fact, I still have not had...
You haven't had any beer in a long time.
I haven't had any alcohol this year. Zero.
Okay, so we might have to come up with something other than alcohol.
I don't know. If I might be game to have a beer. I'm not... It wasn't like I'm quitting.
I don't want to be the reason that you guys start your drinking problems back up.
Anyway. All right, let's do the
we'll
one...
just smoke crack instead.
There you go. That's perfect. Drugs.
Hard drugs.
We got to take some EPO or...
There you go.
I don't know. All right, let's do one last thing. Matt, what you got?
I'm still working on a video. Like I said, I think I alluded to this before. My schedule is not beautiful right now, and I'm working on a video on the Garmin Forerunner 570. If it is not out by the next time we do a podcast, Lance is going to kick me so hard in the groinal region.
In the taint. It's a taint kick.
So I got to get to work on that video. I got to get it out.
I got a whole bunch of those.
Speaking of videos. Okay, well,
not videos of those Garmin watches. I think there's like 6 or 7 of them over there in that little box right
there.
there.
The 570, it's a good watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just have a bunch come in.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for that video to come out. And when it does, like and subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when that watch review comes out. Yeah. Yeah. Do that.
Sweet.
That's one last thing.
Hepler.
Okay, you got to watch my Savi shootout video to see if I was able to hang on or not. This
spoiler, he wins it all.
Lance Hepler, protagonist or dropped?
Yeah.
Which one?
Did I hang or did I get smoked? Let's see.
All right, my one last thing is circling it back to the old Tour de France. We've got our annual fantasy league that we're going to be doing again. And if you go to, was it Tissot, Tissot, or you just Google the fantasy Tour de France league in Google, it'll bring you to that. It's I think it is put on by their sponsor Tissot, if I'm not mistaken. If you go in there and search Dialed Podcast, you will see our league, and it's open for anybody and everybody to join. If you're having a hard time finding that, the league number that we are in is 31745. So
31745.
Correct. And that'll take you to the Dial Podcast, and you can go in there and create a league. And the way that it works is every day you just set your lineup. You can leave it alone if you want, but you want to take advantage of that. You can only make so many we'll call them transactions, so you can make so many moves throughout the course of the season. It doesn't cost anything, but you only get so many ad drops, if you will. And then the person that gets the highest point totals, obviously at the end of it all, wins. But it just makes for another little layer of fun and gets you a little bit more engaged with the old Tour de France in general. And just a lot of fun. We've done this now, for
several
4,
years.
5, 6 years or something like that?
Yeah.
Quite a few years, almost as long as we've been doing the podcast. So it'd be awesome to have more people in there. I think we've already got, 10 or 15 people that have joined it. So more the merrier.
I got to join because it's fun. And the worst is like if you forget to get your stuff set up for the first day or two and then you're behind. Don't do that. I think I was that guy last year.
I forgot on the very first day. And you have to have it done before a certain time before the actual race starts. I think it's like an hour.
You have to pick your winner or who you're picking for the winner before the race starts.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it the night before, because the races start at like 3 in the morning.
3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, yeah. So it just becomes a lot of fun. And the winner this year is going to get a pair of socks. We're going to do a pair of socks. So if you go into the Dial Cycling website, you can see all of the socks in there. Pick
what if
whatever.
you win, Jake?
I'll get myself a pair of socks, baby.
What kind of socks you want? We should buy them for you. Some real nice wool, just some thick wool socks you can bike with.
Possibly. Okay. We've got a lot of fun socks on the website. We got Dialed socks on there. We've got a bunch of stuff from the sock guy, Castelli. We just had some new Castelli socks came in and look really nice. So, yeah. Anyway, if you win that, then you'll get yourself a pair of socks.
All right.
Yay.
Very nice.
All right. Anything else, guys?
That's it.
Unchained season 3
starts
today.
Yeah.
So you can watch that on Netflix if
For
you
those that don't know what you're talking about, what is Unchained, Alliance?
It is it's Netflix's series of the Tour de France last year.
And they soup up the drama and add drama.
They do.
They're like, these guys are like, I guess we'll go ride bikes today. And Netflix is like, But what about your hatred for your twin brother?
Exactly. It's something
It's
like
good.
that. So
It's good.
fun.
Watch it, guys.
It's really a good watch. So they do an awesome job. But is this going to be the last year they're doing
This
it,
is
though?
it. They're not
Oh,
doing
yeah,
it this year. The season that opened today is the last one. They're not filming this year.
That's a real bummer because they do a fantastic job. Cool. All right, we're done. Anything else?
That's it.
Any more one last things?
That's enough one last things.
All right, cool. We'll be back next week with another one of these. And until then, bye for now.
Try my best to annoy everyone around me by constantly talking during a bike race. See how long I can keep it up. Oh, yeah.